Right. Unless that one's mine, and that belongs to Commissioner Herman. Is
Yes,
that one yours, sir?
that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, say. Oh, I'm just trying to find the
Here, you can have
add-on.
mine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, because I read it
I'll just
on.
say Charlene's
Oh, you want an add-on? You want the add-on? Because I printed one too.
Oh, I read it already, but it's
Okay,
nice to have one just in case.
okay. Well, I have two.
This thing will bring up, oh, you have two. You
That's
do
what
have
I
an
mean.
extra
They
one.
gave me that one
Gotcha.
and I had already
Thank
printed
you.
one.
Sounds good. Okay, you get, she gets back.
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Uh-huh. Commissioner Herman had printed one for himself. so
Call
I
me
get to
Bob,
keep this.
please.
Yes. I just like to be formal and then when the time comes.
Okay, if everyone's ready, I will call to order the Victorville Planning Commission work session. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook Askins,
Present.
Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Vice Chair Harriman,
Present.
Chair Kurth.
Present. Okay, now we have any public comments for the just the work session portion. Is there anyone here that has public comments for the work session? Seeing no one.
No one's online.
Oh, thank you. Questions of staff on the agenda items. We'll start on number 2, the multifamily. Questions for staff on this one?
Okay, somebody wrote in that the Spring Valley Ridge home, I think that's an HOA, was not included in the CEQA process. Is that true, Scott?
So for our noticing requirements for any new development, we notify the properties within 300 feet. We also post it in the newspaper. The Spring Valley Ridge development is actually south of the Lakeview development. So it's outside of that 300-foot radius.
Okay.
Any other questions or clarifications on number 2?
Yeah, I got another one. Was that location already zoned multifamily prior to these people housing tracts being built?
Yeah, Alex can elaborate more on that, but he did a lot of research on.
Yes, the property has been zoned high density residential since its incorporation in 1990. Prior to that, our general plan designated the subject site and essentially the entire area of Spring Valley Ridge and Lakeview as high density residential. So the general plan from 88 showed that all high density residential, specifically the Lakeview Ridge property, that was changed about 91. It was the date on the planning and development that changed it to allow this.
Okay, so if a home buyer would have done a little homework, they would have already known that that was subject to a multifamily housing project? Possibly there?
The zoning has not changed, correct?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, then. Any questions or clarifications for agenda item number 3? I think I would just like to know, I read through it a couple of times and I get where we're going with the condition number 9 and the discrepancies on the reciprocal, but it was a little confusing to me, having the parcel to the east and to the west, who was who and exactly what was happening. Would you be able to go through the essence of what this is? I also saw the
Sure.
site plan that showed like that there would be no shared access with Dunkin' Donuts, but then I saw the drive-through going through that, so it confused me.
Yeah, so if I could reference page 254 of the agenda, but this proposed restaurant is immediately adjacent to the Dunkin' Donuts existing development. And so Dunkin' Donuts and this proposed restaurant already have reciprocal access agreements in place. When this restaurant was approved by the Planning Commission recently, staff placed a condition in there, which we've done for other developments, to essentially just have that property owner grant access for the adjacent property that's vacant
To the west.
to the west
view, okay.
to eventually reciprocate that. So we've handled this numerous times before in the past. This particular project has a slight complication in the fact that they already are subject to CCNRs with Dunkin' Donuts. And based on the attachments, Dunkin' Donuts is saying that they're not willing to modify their CCNRs. It's not the end of the world.
But
It's
they
kind
already
of
have rights to go travel across the Dunkin' Donuts property to get to
Correct.
that exit over there.
Yeah, so it would essentially impact Dunkin' Donuts as well, because traffic would, from the vacant parcel to the west of the restaurant, would also be traveling on Dunkin' Donuts site. So they're not amenable to modifying their CCNRs at this point. So it's not the end of the world, and it's not our last bite at the apple. I think when the property to the west of this restaurant develops, we'll ask the question again, because we are trying to limit driveway accesses onto Bear Valley Road and trying to create development along the stretch of Bear Valley Road that functions more like a shopping center, where you don't have to go back out onto
Right.
Bear Valley Road.
So I think currently, as it stands right now, if nothing else ever happened, the subject restaurant and the Dunkin' Donuts property are okay with fire and for egress in and out.
Correct, yes, they meet all fire department access requirements as it is. This is more of like a wish list to, create another access point to the west.
I just got confused by the Dunkin' Donut property owner's letter.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions on 2?
Yeah, so the entrance, the driveway on Locust Avenue, will that be mutually shared?
That is mutually shared based on their existing
Okay,
reciprocal access between Dunkin' Donuts and the proposed restaurant.
okay, and the driveway on Bear Valley.
Any questions on number 4, fueling station car wash? And number 5, coffee drive-through. Okay. And then number 6 is just new business that we will discuss at that time. Okay. So with that, I will adjourn the work session to the regular meeting of the Planning Commission, which will start at 5 o'clock.
A lot of the group. You don't know that.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. I want to welcome everyone to the City of Victorville Planning Commission meeting for August 11th, 2021. I'll call this meeting to order and we'll start with roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook Askins,
Present.
Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Vice Chair Harriman,
Here.
Chair Kurth.
Present. At this point, if you'll please rise for the invocation, which will be led by Commissioner Cook Askins, and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Thomas.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to meet this evening. We also pray a special blessing upon this commission as we receive input and make decisions for the city of Victorville, and a special blessing upon our city council and the city of Victorville and our residents. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please face the flag, place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we have a set of minutes from the July 14th, 2021 meeting to deal with.
I move that we approve minutes.
Commissioner Thomas, second.
Can I do that, Scott, if I wasn't here?
You're,
Yes,
go ahead.
as long as you've reviewed, you can.
Okay, I moved to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Commissioner Thomas, second.
Roll call vote, Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman,
Aye.
Chair Kurth.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, it's time now to move on to our public hearing items, and we'll be starting with agenda item number 2. Before we do that, I know there's probably a few people in the audience, I'm assuming, and maybe some people online who haven't participated that much in this process, and I wanted to make sure to fairly make people aware of how this works. The Planning Commission is interested in hearing from the public. Individuals from the public may speak on agenda items or on issues not posted on the agenda item during the public comment section, providing those issues are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Individual speakers may address the Planning Commission once per public comment period and once per each public hearing item for up to 3 minutes. For those attending the meeting in person, and though not required, please utilize the provided iPad located in the chambers to electronically submit a request to speak, or you can complete a speaker card prior to the start of the meeting and place it in the clear speaker card box located on the dais counter. If you'd like to comment on a public hearing item, please submit a speaker's card before the public hearing item is announced. For those attending by Zoom, please click the raise your hand feature located on the Zoom screen. Whether attending this meeting in person or via Zoom, once comments are invited, the speaker will be called on by name and then recognized by the presiding officer. Audience members may not disrupt, disturb, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, and those who are subject to removal from the meeting pursuant to Penal Code 403. Your understanding and cooperation is appreciated. So with that, we'll start with agenda item number 2 with the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Agenda item number 2 is planning case number PLAN 21-00010. It is a site plan with a mitigated negative declaration to allow for the development of a 272-unit multifamily apartment complex on vacant R3 high-density residential zone property. This property is located west of Ridgecrest Road, approximately 515 feet north of Landis Drive. And this is between Ridgecrest Road and the Burlington Santa Fe, Northern Santa Fe Railroad, with Green Tree Boulevard extension just under construction to the north of this site. A brief overview of the project. It's a 272-unit apartment complex that consists of 2- and 3-story dwelling unit buildings that include attached garages. There's a clubhouse building, a pool building, and maintenance buildings also proposed on site. It includes a density of 12 units per acre on an approximately 22.3 acre site. And of that 22.3 acre site, over 5 acres of landscape area and enhanced amenities are included, which include a perimeter walking trail, pocket parks, dog parks, barbecue and picnic areas, a sports court, activity lawn, as well as the pool house the pool complex and clubhouse is noted. A brief history of the site. This location was annexed into the city of Victorville in 1990, at which time it was designated as an R3T, which is High Density Residential Transitional District. At this time, the entire area now known as Lakeview and Spring Valley Ridge was also zoned high density residential per our general plan. As early as 1988, prior to this area's incorporation in the city of Victorville, it was designated as high density residential in our general plan and noted in annexation files from the local agency formation commission that the city has. This notes that this location was also zoned multifamily when it was under the jurisdiction of San Bernardino County. In 2007, the site also had a 270-unit condominium complex approved that has previously expired. The project is designed as a gated community with the developer proposing all market rate residences, enhanced on-site amenities and landscaping, quality architectural design with various building types, attached garages, a centralized recreational space and other open spaces spread throughout the vicinity and the site and connected by walking paths. The proposed development complies with all development standards such as setbacks, parking, building height, landscaping, recreational space, amenities, and most of these items meet or exceed the development code standards. Additionally, a minimum separation of 120 feet from existing residences to the south of the site is provided with the buffer area between the uses consisting of enhanced landscaping, which is in excess of municipal code requirements. The buildings provided are coordinated throughout the development and comply with the multifamily design guidelines, providing a quality architectural and site design that will complement the surrounding environment. At the conclusions of staff's presentation, the applicant also has prepared a presentation that will be able to highlight some of those items. Regarding the environmental assessment of the project, it was reviewed in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, which resulted in measures to address air quality, biological resources, cultural and tribal resources, as well as geology and transportation, which will ensure the project has a less than significant impact on the environment. Among the other items reviewed, the secret review also included assessment of the project's impacts to population, noise, utilities, and public services, such as schools and emergency services, which found a less than significant impact and no mitigation necessary other than existing municipal code and local standards, such as development impact fees. As a result of the secret review process, no comments or concerns were received from any state or local agencies notified during that process. Regarding agency comments, as the part of staff's typical notification process, multiple public agencies were also contacted, such as school districts, the fire department, the police department, San Bernardino County, and local utility providers, with no entities noting concerns with the proposed project. Multiple public comments have been received on this project by residents from the surrounding community up until this afternoon, matter of fact, with concerns related on the noted project. Of the comments received, the common areas of concern include topics such as crime, traffic, schools, noise, property values, the environment, and comments generally stating that introducing multifamily to the area was not appropriate. Staff notes that these areas of concern have been discussed in the staff report and in conjunction with the secret review process, and all potential impacts have been mitigated accordingly. For example, mitigation measures to address impacts to Ridgecrest Road, the payment of development impact fees, and for Joshua trees have been included and are as conditions of approval in the subject resolution. Additionally, it should be noted that this would not introduce multifamily development in the vicinity as something new, as the community of Spring Valley Lake, which is just east of this site, currently has 3 separate condominium townhome developments within their boundaries. Based upon the development proposed, providing compliance with the underlying high-density residential general plan designation, compliance with the site's R3 zoning designation, as well as a project design that meets or exceeds all development code requirements and the multifamily design guidelines, staff finds that the project is proposed in accordance with the site plan scope of review criteria outlined in section 16-3.01.030 of the Victorville Municipal Code and recommends the following. That the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Adopt attached mitigated negative declaration with a mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the project, and adopt the resolution number P-21-030, approving site plan case number PLAN 21-00010, subject to the attached conditions of approval.
Thank you, Mr. Haragi. Any questions from the commission at this point or clarifications of staff? Okay. Hearing none, then I will open up the public hearing, and we can start with the presentation from the applicant.
Thank you, Chairman Kurth and members of the commission and city staff. We appreciate your consideration of our project today. Let's see. How do I advance the slides? Oh. Okay, we have to go back to the beginning. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Kurth, members of the commission and city staff. We appreciate your consideration of our project today. My name is Ron Nestor. I am the architect of this project. And joining me today is Jay Ruby, who's the civil engineer for the project. So we're introducing to you Lakeview Village apartment homes. Okay. There we go. The site, as you've already heard, is a 22-acre parcel, vacant forever. It's been owned by Mr. Michael Ashagian for more than 15 years, and it has been zoned for many decades as an R3 property, zoned for multifamily homes. The existing site it's an amazing site. It's got amazing views on all sides of the lake and of the mountains and of the cityscape. And you can see in this photograph that the machine located at the bottom corner is the machine that's driving piles for the bridge abutment for the road extension, which is already underway, as you probably know, to link Ridgeview Street to the heart of Victorville. Oh, and let me mention, in this slide, from where that construction activity is to the houses on the right side, Mr. Ashagian's property takes up about 2/3 of the front rectangle of that vacant property. As we all know, there's a severe shortage of housing in California and also in the high desert, especially for young professionals and empty nesters. Currently, they must compete for a home purchase or leave the area to find appropriate multifamily communities. And one thing that is noted in the staff report, under the new RENA requirements, the city is required to provide for 8,000 homes in the next 8 years or so. So our 272 units is a beginning of that. As you can see, the perimeter views are spectacular. And we think because of this, this is one of the premier properties in the entire valley and suitable destination for our upscale apartment community. As I said, MGM has owned and has steadily worked on this property for more than 15 years. Mr. Ashagian with MGM Investments is a trusted developer and has more than 40 years of experience developing properties all over Southern California in commercial, industrial, and residential projects. We believe the time is right for this unique location to be repurposed to provide much needed quality apartment homes for the residents of Victor Valley. And they are apartment homes. This is not just a place that people will park temporarily. We intend people will enjoy and live here. And so we've called it Lakeview Village Apartment Homes. And we consider it a resort style community. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. But next I'll let Jay make some comments. Okay.
Yeah, so we're really excited that the city has broken ground on the Green Tree extension, which is providing the extension of Green Tree across the railroad track, as well as the widening and realignment for Ridgecrest Road, which is going to benefit not only the existing traffic concerns that we have on Ridgecrest Road as Bear Valley, it's also going to help mitigate the new trips that will be generated by this project as well. Next slide. As you can see on this slide, the blue roads are the new alignments for Green Tree Extension and Ridgecrest Road. Ridgecrest Road actually bisects our property. The other benefits of this new project that the city is implementing is that it is providing the new 12-inch domestic water line that will be serving our property. And it allows us to take 3 points of access to our project from our main entrance, a right-in exit only, an emergency exit on the south, and an emergency entrance on the north. The three colors that you see there, the purple is the right-of-way easement that has already been dedicated by the owner to the city for the new right-of-way for Ridgecrest Road. The green is the existing slope easement that was dedicated, and the orange is a fee take lot parcel that is going to be either deeded or given to the city of Victorville for their use. So we're definitely excited that enhancement has been made. The city's project is doing 20 feet of the half width on our side, and our project will be extending it the additional 12 feet to bring it to its ultimate width to curb and gutter and sidewalk. And we are also proposing a bus turnout on our property frontage as part of the improvements for our project. Thanks.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, the street improvements here on Mr. Shagan's parcel of land are huge in terms of connecting this part of the valley to the rest of the city. So what does resort style mean? It means that every night when you come home, you're coming home to a vacation. It's a community that has where 5 recreational amenities are required. We're providing 20 recreation amenities. We're providing mature, lush landscaping that are desert cultivar, desert appropriate plants. It's a gate guarded community. So every day you'll come home and feel like you're on vacation. It gives the opportunity to live, relax, and enjoy the site in an upscale resort-like environment. We believe this is going to be the premier apartment community within the valley. Again, stunning views from all sides. The project is sited so that most buildings either take advantage of views to the lake, views to the north and toward the city. Those units that don't face these spectacular views will face internally into our recreational courtyards. You can see here on this slide, of the 22 acres, nearly a quarter of the entire site is given over to landscaping and recreational amenities. From the main drive entrance, which is a gated entrance with special enhanced paving, you'll come through the gate. The orange building that you see in the middle here is our leasing building and clubhouse building, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. At the end of the driveway street is our pool complex, and there's the pool house with toilets and showers for the pool, but also an additional multi-purpose room that could be used as a classroom or as a yoga studio. Then there's a tot lot located here. There's a barbecue area, and there's several barbecue areas sprinkled throughout the development. There's a great lawn where you can do all kinds of outdoor lawn activities. So this is the only real lawn that will be in the project. There's a pickleball court. There's a dog park located at the bottom corner here, and a secondary dog park located in the top corner here. And this top corner dog park will have a dog wash station as well. There are pathways that link all around the perimeter, including at node spaces here, which provide scenic overlooks of the valley. And there's a garden here of the Joshua Tree Gardens, which we're going to relocate the Joshua trees in a special place with a view. Perimeter paths, including trail along the foot of the hill here. And on this trail will also be dog waste stations and benches. And so it's an entirely self-contained community with its own recreational amenities. There are a total of 18 buildings and 271 units. The units range in size from 1 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms, and from 750 square feet to 1,200 square feet. Most units will have garages located within the buildings. There are a few units that will have carports in the parking area. And then in addition to that, we have open parking. We've more than meet the parking requirements. Every unit will have a laundry within the unit. And in addition to all the open space, each unit will have either a private patio or a private balcony. And I'm going to go on to the architectural character is a California desert Southwest. It includes deeply recessed patios and balconies. It includes trellises over windows or canopy, metal awnings over windows. We've introduced selective areas, arched forms, which is a repetitive theme that you will see in the buildings. The project is gated and secured. As we said, some of the buildings are 2 stories and some of the buildings are 3 stories. The 2-story buildings are the ones that are closest to the adjacent single-family home community to the south. Preliminary rents may range from $1,900 to $2,900 a month. And as I've noted that the landscape that has been envisioned is appropriate for the desert environment, but we intend it to be lushly planted for a desert environment. And the types of trees that are provided include things like this, the sweet acacia, Modesto ash, the Desert Museum Palo Verde, a beautiful tree, a few palm trees as accents. We're proposing some citrus trees for aromatic quality. The shrubs will be native or compatible grasses and ground covers. And I think it's going to be beautiful. The palette is colorful, will flower, and it'll be a beautiful landscape. Here again, the meandering path is shown along the foot of the slope of the hill, and it will continue on and encircle the entire project. And then there's additional footpaths within the interior. You can see all these interior units face the extensive recreational facilities. The pathways connect also to the main clubhouse building located here. The clubhouse building will include the leasing center, but will also include fitness, a business center, and a community clubhouse feature. The resort style pool has lots of nooks and crannies, so some people can do lap swimming while others relax in corners. There's extensive deck surfaces for patio furniture, and there's a spa and showers as well as toilets. At the club room, you can see some examples here of, in the club room, there may be a fireplace, a TV for community gatherings, pool table, maybe library facilities. There's also an outdoor covered terrace out the end of the building that overlooks the pool complex. We're providing a business center that'll have work areas, private conference rooms, printers and scanners so that you can easily work from home while living in our resort. And as I said, we are way exceeding the minimum recreational requirements of the city. We will have a pickleball court. The Great Lawn will have activities like yoga, picnics, lawn bowling, possibly. And 2 dog parks, one of which has a dog wash station. There are multiple locations for barbecues and covered ramadas at the locations of the barbecues. There's a tot lot, as I mentioned. And we think that we're providing beautiful surroundings, prestigious views, and a gated, secured community, resort-like living, California natural, the Lakeview apartment homes. Expected to begin construction in 2022. And we think it's destination living. Thank you very much. And there's more information, you can contact MJM Investments. And we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Does the commission have any questions for the applicant's representatives? I just had one quick question you might be able to help me with. You had made mention in your presentation that you have a projected rents, and I know that's impossible to really pin down, but you had mentioned like $1,900 a month to $2,900 a month. Do you have any data on where that might have come from for that estimate? Obviously, that's a couple of years down the road, once this is built.
Exactly. That's why it's called
there's just-
projected, because we don't really know, but it includes a market survey of existing projects here in the valley. And we really do believe this is the premier apartment complex. So that it's going to be in the higher range of rents in the valley.
Okay, so it was a market study from up here and not maybe down a Rancho or something like that. Okay, thank you.
I have one question.
Yes.
And I don't even know if this would be legal or whatever, but is it open to any Section 8 housing? Section 8?
No, it's all designated as market rate and premier quality. So at the top of the market.
Okay, thank you.
Let me ask quickly here. You mentioned that there was going to be a bus turnout. Is that going to be at the entrance, the main entrance?
It is south of the main entrance. Especially from the main entrance, as you go north on Ridgecrest, the street really starts sloping downward, so it makes the bridge crossing. So the area south of our main entrance is much flatter.
Okay. Thank you. And then I'm going to move on with other comments. Maybe stand by at the end there. We may have a couple more questions for you. Charlene, do we have comment cards?
Yeah, the first speaker is Myra Williams.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, Planning Commission and all in attendance. My name is Myra Williams. I am the HOA president in my community, Victorville Lakeview Homes. We're adjacent to the proposed multifamily development. I'm here to tell you that my community and I vehemently oppose the construction of a 272 multifamily complex units. I hope you are able to read my letter. I'm sure you were. And see all the signatures opposing this construction. There's many reasons for that. These are the ones that stuck out to me the most. Multifamily dwellings are inconsistent with single residential homes in our surrounding neighborhoods. As pointed out, there are a couple buildings of townhomes in Spring Valley Lake, but these apartments will not offer ownership. In the past, I remember listening to your guys' meetings for the planning that just went on not too long ago. And one of the things that was brought up, how the high desert has mostly medium and low income areas, but that's it. And one of you made a comment of how come we don't have anything else? Well, this is the reason why. I understand that apartments are necessary in the community. But there are other areas in the desert that can be useful for that. The area is desirable because it has no apartments in the vicinity. It will drive property values down. It doesn't matter how luxurious the apartments are. The people are what makes the community the community. And we know what kind of problems apartment buildings bring. The influx of crime these apartments will bring to our community, it's very high. And due to the absolute lack of response from law enforcement, we have endured. Our community and I firmly oppose this development. Every other week, there's a coroner truck at an apartment complex because there is some type of death. We don't want the spillage of such negative aspects of having apartments as our neighbors to burden our community. Traffic, pollution, and noise is another area of concern. While reviewing the studies presented on this development geared to mitigate such problems, there were estimates that were not realistic and as well as outdated. For example, it says that there's going to be 272 homes, and that's going to create a population of 734 people. That's roughly 2.69 people per apartment. That's unrealistic. How many apartments that we know that always is 2.5 people living in there? The lack of public services such as police officers, facilities like fire departments, schools that are already at overcapacity. The high desert is vast, and there are many empty lots that are more centrally located that will welcome apartments.
Your time is up.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
The next speaker is Angel Esparza. Sorry.
Welcome.
Happens every month. Yeah, good evening, members of the commission here, the planning commission. My name's Angel Esparza. I'm a local resident here in the Victor Valley. I'm also a 22-year member of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. I've been a union carpenter for, again, 22 years, and I can count on 3 fingers how many times I've worked in the high desert. Okay, projects like this, I've been on many construction sites in the high desert. What can we do as a council and a commission when passing and adopting projects like this? What can we do to ensure young local residents a pathway to a career by building projects like this? We're all for growth and construction, but I've been on far too many projects in the Victorville area, Adelanto area, multi-high density mixed-use projects like this are a cash-paying industry. They go for the lowest bidder. I've seen I got video of 2 or 3 kids coming out of Victorville making 7 cents hanging dry, or $7 a board hanging drywall. Who does that? It's sad. You got kids working out of their mom and dad's cars with their own tools, building big things like this that they're going to charge $1,900 to $2,900 a month for, building things they can't even afford to rent. So when I talk about the Carpenters Union, I'm a representative, I'm a member. At the same time, where it's all about skilled and trained, local hire, and providing a workforce to build the community we live in. I just can't stress it enough to take in consideration when we talk about growth. We're all for growth. We'd love to grow the community. We have over 600 members here in Victorville alone, probably about 1,000 in the Victor Valley that would love to work on projects like this throughout Victorville. Mentioned the bridge, right? The abutment in that picture there. I'm proud to announce that is going to be built by a skilled and trained union carpenter workforce. So you could rest assured that's going to be built on time, under budget, with quality. Hopefully this developer could do the same by selecting a responsible contractor. 9 out of 10 times that I visited projects up here, it's a cash paying, against the law, under the table industry. So we're hoping to get rid of that. Please take into consideration with the developer that upon adopting these things that we don't have those that type of erosion here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Crystal Walker.
Hello, my name is Crystal Walker and I'm a resident in the Lakeview homes that are adjacent to the area that you're planning on developing. And I just kind of would like to ask that our voice be heard because I know most people in our HOA do not want this apartment complex. For the reasons stated above, traffic, noise, property values, crime rate, most of us that live in that community moved to that community for a reason. It's one of the, generally a safer neighborhood, doesn't have a bunch of apartment complexes. And I would like for our voice to be heard. The other thing is a lot of people who are going to be affected by this complex, I don't think we're notified. They notified, yes, within the legal parameters, but that's not everybody who's going to be affected by this apartment complex. So again, I would just like for that to be considered and let you know that I do oppose the complex and I'm a neighboring, in the neighboring homes. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I don't have any other speakers from the audience. Is there one more? Okay. You can come on up.
Do you have the card or do we need a name?
I need
I did a tablet. That's Mike Silva.
Okay.
So how I'm looking at it is from
Yeah, a little closer, please.
looking at it from a big overview of Victorville. I mean, I don't know if you know, but like from Apple Valley, Hesperia, we're known as Victimville. So like the Spring Valley Lake area, and actually this side of the tracks, that's kind of a nicer part of Victorville. So you have $1 million houses in Spring Valley Lake, and you're gonna have these apartments, which might be nice apartments, but everybody knows in 10 years, they usually, I've lived in apartments and they were like the best in town. 10 years later, they're like terrible. So it's gonna bring a neighborhood down. It's only a matter of time. So yeah, that's my whole thing. Like, that's like, I don't know if you've been up there, but you can see all 3 lakes from that spot right there. It's a beautiful neighborhood. Like, if anything, I would suggest putting like $800,000 houses there, at least bring Victorville up to the other cities. Because look at Hook, look at all those apartments that went over there, and then look at it now. So that's just my point. Also, it says that they did a environmental study, but there's Roadrunners live there. I live right there. I have pictures of Roadrunners on my shed. So I'm not sure how good of aren't those protected species? So what are they gonna do about that? So anyways, my point is, they might be nice now, but everybody knows California, 10 years later, those apartments it's gonna be a negative in the neighborhood. So that's it.
Thank you for your comments.
The next speakers are on Zoom. The first one is Emmanuel Esterling.
Hi, good evening, Commission, and thank you for your time. I also live in Victorville, Lakeview Homes. I'm a doctor. I served in the military for 20 years, and I specifically retired in Lakeview Homes because the community just struck me due to the fact that it's a beautiful location, it was safe, and I thought I could raise my kids in a nice, safe environment in Victorville. I oppose these homes or this apartment complex because, for one, the speaker there highlighted the amazing views, but part of the views that these apartment complexes are going to get are peering right into our neighborhood along Hudson Drive. The second thing is that the traffic is going to be increased tremendously. Right now, we have traffic along Ridgecrest Road just due to the fact that the Apple Valley Bridge was built, and let alone once the connection's made to Hesperia Road, it's going to be even more. The gentleman mentioned that he's going to have a bus come in on the south side of the apartment complex. Well, that's going to be directly next to Lakeview Homes. So we're going to have increased traffic just from the kids getting to and from school from the buses, let alone the regular traffic that goes through there and the increased noise with that. I understand that if you guys go with this builder, there are some benefits to the city of Victorville, but I ask you guys to seriously consider the voice of your constituents. 250 homes in and families that live in Lakeview Homes, which is going to be directly impacted by this apartment complex, is telling you, we oppose this. Spring Valley Lake has much opposition to this too. So I ask that you would seriously consider and give that greater weight versus the potential benefit of a road and a little bit of land that you would get, because we're the ones that are going to have to deal with this and live this every day if you guys vote to approve this. And we put you guys on there, we voted for you, and you had our support. So we're asking you that you listen to our voice here and provide greater weight as you guys consider this apartment complex and the detrimental effect it's going to have on the people that live there. I have no further comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Lisa Verhagen.
Sorry about that, trying to get the unmute button. My name's Dennis Verhagen. My wife, Lisa Verhagen, is right here with me. Hello. We submitted a letter that I think you guys may have gotten earlier today, but I have another question that came up, but I'm wondering, because I haven't seen it from any of the diagrams. Where are the storm drains going to exit? Are they going to be exiting towards Ridgecrest, which dumps into our Spring Valley Lake? Or are they going to be going somewhere else? I can't find that on any plans. The gentleman didn't mention anything. He did mention that they're going to have all this beautiful landscaping and all this other stuff, which sounds like a beautiful community. But I'm just wondering where we're going to dump our wastewaters and street stuff, runoff, and people from running their cars and stuff like that. So if you could answer that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Should that individual be directed to contact the appropriate staff member on that detail?
I think at the end of public comment, if you would like us to address some of the comments, we could do that.
That would be good. Yes, to the commenter on Zoom at the end of this item, staff will regroup here and attempt to address some of the comments that we've been hearing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Ashiko Newman.
Thank you, Planning Commission. I thank you for this opportunity to come before you today. I do have a few concerns. First, I am very concerned that the council has already made its mind up about this decision, despite the residents coming forth in this meeting today. I am a resident of Spring Valley Ridge, which is adjacent to the project. And I was one of those homeowners that was not notified. No one in my complex, in my subdivision, was notified about this project. I am very, very much concerned about this. The reason that I chose this location, and I did my own research, was because of the safety issues, because of the lack of crime and all of these other issues that come along with apartment living. I specifically chose this area. There's no apartments in this area. It's just so much on our plates that will just, there is so much that will come upon our plates, such as the increased crime, the increased traffic. And that's a huge issue right now with the project that just completed to Yakaloma, causing huge amounts of traffic flow into this area, which isn't so bad. But now we have the addition that this particular area is also going to be linked to Victorville, causing even more traffic. Then in addition to that, you're talking about 272 homes. Even if each apartment renter had one car, that is 272 cars driving in this area, in this highly dense, highly populated area over here, because of the different traffic zones that are right there. I just think it's just not right. I hope the Planning Commission hasn't made up their mind. I hope that you are considering the needs of the residents here. The higher ranges of rents, I was under the impression that this particular project was supposed to meet the needs of Victorville. Victorville residents cannot even afford to live in this area, especially with the targeted range that you're talking about. When you're talking about $1,900 to $2,900 for all that, if I can afford that, but guess what? I'm going to buy a house. I'm not going to rent an apartment. I'm not going to do that. If I can afford to live there, if a person can afford to live there, they wouldn't go be in an apartment. They'd be in their own home. And it's marketed as a resort. Well, if I wanted to live next to a resort, I would move to Palm Springs. I didn't. I chose to live here in this particular area. I think that this is just not right, that these residents here in this area, Spring Valley Ridge, were not appropriately notified of this particular project so that we could lend our voice to this commission prior to a decision being made. I hope that each one of our voices are heard today. And I hope that you guys' minds have not already been made up prior to listening to the needs and concerns of the residents that will be directly affected as a result of this project. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
The next speaker is Sandra Hahn.
Thank you. Good evening, Planning Commission. I appreciate your taking the time to hear us out. I completely agree with Ms. Newman and the doctor that spoke before her. I am a homeowner here in Lakeview Homes, and I'm not sure how thought through this was. This plan was thought through. If we bring in 275 approximate apartments, that's approximately 300 to 500 more additional children in the immediate area. I don't know if our schools can tolerate that. And I know for a fact that as hard as they work and as honorable as they are, our police response, our police force cannot handle additional weight and additional problems that are going to become or arise as a result of all that new residential population and all the traffic. I was rear-ended 2 nights ago on this death trap of between Industrial and Ridgecrest, and they said Yates is going to relieve that. Even Highway 18 is it's a tough area. You got to get through it without getting into an accident. But Yates with an additional 250 to 500 cars, that's not going to be much relief. And as the doctor said earlier, I would implore that you listen to your constituents. We are active voters. We are the active voters. Renters are not going to be as active as we are. We are very passionate. Would really appreciate your consideration. And I hope to God you haven't made your decision without hearing us, because like I said, we're very passionate about what we believe in. Our community, our little neighborhood will not be able to afford or see this through, this additional apartment living. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Those are all the speakers.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that, then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and I'll bring it back to the commission here. And as discussed before, does staff have a couple of wrap-up comments on some of the a couple of issues that were brought up of concern?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think we can provide some clarification on some of those items. First of all, regarding noticing that the item was noticed in accordance with state law, 300-foot radius from the project site. It was also noticed in conjunction with the CEQA document that was prepared prior to the item being put on Planning Commission agenda. So all that was noticed in accordance with state law with newspaper articles, public noticing. And we do the same thing for every project. So that's no different from any other project we do. Regarding the biological survey, the project was assessed. There was a biological assessment prepared for the project that resulted in mitigation measures for biological resources, such as the Joshua tree. And it did assess what was on site in real time when they found there. So any animals of special status or of concern or endangered were mitigated accordingly. Regarding drainage, perhaps the city engineer may be a better person to address that in depth, but I know generally speaking, the water quality management plan will address on-site drainage. Essentially, the way and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Gangler, the way the state law works in our codes is that the site cannot have any water leave the site in excess of its current conditions. So right now, if 10 gallons of water run off that site in the storm, that's all that can run off that site in the storm. The rest has to be maintained on site in what I believe is underground tanks and some above ground basins in this case. Regarding views and setbacks, as noted in the staff report and in my presentation, the site is set back a minimum of 120 feet from the nearest residences to the south, which exceeds our municipal code standards. It also is set lower in elevation than the properties to the south. So there will be additional buffer there in the fact that it's at a lower elevation than the properties to the south. Regarding schools and police response, the school district and the police department were notified and they did not respond with any concerns of the project. Additionally, all projects are required to pay development impact fees, which will, in the case of the police department, fund ongoing police service. There's also, with respect to police department, Measure P funds that are available to provide additional response. And with respect to schools, school facilities are dictated by the districts themselves. They then charge school fees with every new development that comes into the city, which the city collects and then forwards directly to those districts. The city also did not receive any response from the affected districts with respect to this development. And lastly, I would like to note that this is a permitted use. So the R3 zone does not allow single family homes. It allows multifamily homes. So it's not a discretionary use. In some cases, the Planning Commission sees a conditional use permit, which is discretionary. In this case, multifamily homes and apartments are permitted use. So the review criteria outlined in the municipal code is what the city typically utilizes to review projects if they meet code or not. In this case, staff has found that it has.
And I think you touched on this there for a second, but a lot of comments about crime and such. So as typical, I know that we circulate these projects to the city departments, including the sheriff's department or Victorville Police Department. So you can confirm that the police department, San Bernardino County Sheriff's contracted department received all of this information and were asked to comment if they had.
Correct.
That's how it works.
Yes, they were notified. In the staff report, there's an attachment that notes all the agencies that were contacted directly. Staff additionally followed up specifically with police after that and did not receive any comments noting concerns with the project.
Thank you for that. At this point, do the individual commissioners have any comments as to this project before we ask for a decision?
I have some. And I just want to address a couple things that were said by the community. And one of the most important things that I think people should realize is when you bought your home, that area was already zoned for this type of a project. So if that was a concern of yours, I'm not too sure why you would buy a home there. Okay. This is resort, like the developer said, this is resort high income housing. And the state of California is mandating that the state or the city add 8,000 additional units to the city. And this is only 272. And I've been a connoisseur of more high income housing, as the one commenter had pointed out. And I can't think of an apartment project anywhere that I've ever seen be as nice as this one is. And I'm a contractor. I have had jobs building new apartments. This is without a doubt. I mean, I guess you could go down to Hollywood or wherever and maybe call me out with that. But this is without a doubt going to be the nicest place in the entire high desert to live if you're not a homeowner. Pollution. If pollution was a factor, why would anybody buy a home right next to a major freight train arterial out of Southern California? That train arterial is one of the busiest ones in the United States. So if you have a concern with that, again, why would you buy a home right there? That doesn't, I'm just not sure what people think we're supposed to do there. Just leave it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's going to be homes. It's going to have the same population and the same traffic and everything that's been cited by the comments. Spring Valley Lake. Spring Valley Lake has had their chances to be annexed into the city of Victorville, and they have turned it down repeatedly. They don't want to be part of Victorville. So I really take a little issue to people from Spring Valley Lake that want to complain about this. They have a wall around their property, and They got their own thing going there. This is for our city, not Spring Valley Lake. And to be honest with you, this place looks nicer than 3/4 of the stuff in Spring Valley Lake. Somebody mentioned $1 million homes. I invite anybody to drive through Spring Valley Lake. It's not a $1 million home community. It might have a few, but I was going to address the underground water, but it's already been addressed. There's going to be no water drainage exiting the property. It's going to have retention ponds and underground water storage. So, that if anybody has an issue with that should explain a little bit. And I guess that's it for me.
Thanks. Anything, any thoughts, Commissioner Cook Askins?
No,
Nothing. Commissioner Thomas?
just that I, like everyone in here, would be concerned about the complexity or the makeup of my neighborhood. And I do understand that, but many of the communities around here are growing, not necessarily with apartments, but there's a lot of building going on now. So I think we're all gonna have to share in the pain, if you will, with these developments. And there is a dire need for multiple living units in the city. So, but I do understand your concern about that, especially something coming up next to you. But the great thing is that it is high end.
Thank you for that comment. And I'd just like to say that I'm happy to see the surrounding neighborhoods and the citizens of Victorville throughout that area coming forward and state your concerns and be part of the process here. It's very important. I received the agenda package on Thursday and was a little shocked to see how many comments there were. And I can tell you that I read through every single comment. There was exactly 150 of them, including the petition comments from the association next door. I read every one of them. I do understand your concerns. However, I feel that this property has been zoned this way. Now, if this was a developer coming in and asking for a rezone and asking to change the rules in the middle of the game when we've all bought our properties right there, and we banked on the fact that this would be single family homes and not apartments, I'd be very upset, but that's not the case. These developers, and I'm very adamant about this, people that landowners, one of the best rights is that you can develop your land under the existing rules that we all play, as long as it meets, the city building codes and state building codes. It looks like a very decent project to me. Knowing that there's a lot of industrial development coming to this high desert, I know for a fact it's going to be a very large job creator that is going to be a big economic boon to this whole community of the high desert. And the thing that's going to bite us really bad up here is going to be available housing, whether that's apartments or single family homes. There is a large shortage. It's tough to get in. Things are getting expensive. We need more. That's very important for our future. So those are my comments, my thoughts. With that, I'll bring it back to the commission and I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move to approve the project as written.
I second the motion.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Harriman, seconded by Commissioner Thomas. Roll call vote, Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman,
Aye.
Chair Kurt.
Aye.
That motion passes.
That's passed. Thank you and good luck to you, gentlemen. Now we move on to agenda number 3. Can I have the staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Kurth, fellow commissioners. Item number 3 is case PLAN 21-00022. It is a site plan modification with an environmental exemption to allow for the removal of a condition of approval requiring reciprocal access for previously approved site plan case PLAN 20-00018, which allowed for the development of an approximately 2,300 square foot restaurant with drive-through on C2 property located at the north of Bear Valley Road and approximately 200 feet west of Locust Avenue. In 2020, just last year, the Planning Commission approved this project. It did list site plan condition number 9, which required the property to grant access to the vacant undeveloped parcel to the west. However, this developer is requesting the removal of that condition. After they've pursued granting this easement, they realize that they're subject to existing CCNRs with their adjacent property where Dunkin' Donuts is located. In attachment D, the applicant has indicated that Dunkin' Donuts is not willing to grant that easement. And specifically in attachment E, it shows where staff was seeking to obtain that easement. As you can see on the screen here, as you would exit that drive-through, the vacant property to the west, we were envisioning a drive aisle that would connect off-site to this undeveloped parcel at some point in the future when it would develop. So staff would still pursue that reciprocal access if we have parties that would agree at some point in the future when that property develops. But at this point, the applicant for this restaurant is unable to obtain that easement. And therefore, staff recommends that the commission find the project previously assessed in accordance with CEQA standards and adopt resolution number P-21-033, approving site plan modification case number PLAN 21-00022, subject to the attached conditions of approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission for staff?
This one was a little confusing to me also, Scott. Is this the to eliminate the access? The builder wants to have that removed from the original plans?
Correct. In 2020, when this was approved, the project was approved with access and will maintain proper access to Bear Valley and Locust. So both Dunkin' Donuts and this proposed restaurant have appropriate fire access to the site. What was placed on the project was a preferred granting of future access to that vacant property to the west. So that similar to a shopping center, when all of these properties developed, consumers can, enter the site and they don't have to go back out onto Bear Valley Road to go to the adjacent site. They would just drive through internal drive aisles. So that was not able, based on CCNR requirements that are shared between the two property owners right now, the subject property and the property to the east, which is Dunkin' Donuts. The applicant for this restaurant is asking for leniency on that condition to have it removed.
Thank you.
I have one question. Has this come before with any other locations, a modification of this type for an existing?
Thank you for that question. It's common for developers to come back and request a modification to a condition. This is, though, the first time that we've dealt with this specific type of condition. To my knowledge, all of the other properties that we required this granting of future access easement, those were on properties that were not subject to CCNR. So they had the liberty to do that. They didn't have to get a third party's approval. So in this case, they are kind of beholden to that adjacent property that is not willing to agree to the CCNR change.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll open up the public hearing. Is the applicant or anyone here wanting to speak to the commission? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing on this one. And I think I'm okay with it as long as staff's okay with it for, fire and emergency access. We see this, common times with multiple smaller properties in the past that we asked for this reciprocal access. And I can't remember, lately, if there's anyone that's denied it. They usually kind of agree to it, but I think this might work itself out in the future, knowing that, whatever happens to that parcel to the west in the future, all property owner involved at that time may see a benefit to, this access, because they can all feed off the business, which we usually see. So I have a feeling it might work itself out, but that's my comments for now. So we'll look for any other comments or a motion.
Commissioner Thomas moves that we approve staff recommendation.
Commissioner Cook Askin, second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Thomas, seconded by Commissioner Cook Askins. Roll call vote, Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman,
Aye.
Chair Kurth.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. We can move on to agenda item number 4, staff report, please.
Thank you, Chairman Kurth, fellow commissioners. Item number 4 is case PLAN 20-00012. It is a site plan and conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for the development of a fueling station with accessory car wash and convenience store, and a conditional use permit to allow for beer and wine sales on 2 vacant C2 general commercial zoned parcels. This is located at the northeast corner of Bear Valley Road and 3rd Avenue. The applicants requesting this approval, which will include a fuel facility with 8 pump fueling canopies. 8 pump fuel station with canopy, a 3,500 square foot convenience store that will propose to sell beer and wine only. It includes an accessory car wash with vacuum and drying stations. This is also developed with connecting circulation. Unlike the last item, there's shared ownership between the adjacent properties, so there would be no issue with coordinating that shared access in the future. With that, I'd like to note too that the site was previously cleared approximately a decade ago for an office complex that never came to fruition. This project itself will include a requirement to install a signal, traffic signal at Bear Valley and 3rd Avenue with a raised center median. We'll also be required to connect 3rd Avenue north to existing pavement. With that, staff finds that it meets all municipal code requirements and therefore recommends that the Planning Commission find the site plan and conditional use permit portions of the project categorically exempt pursuant to section 15332 of the California Environmental Quality Act entitled Infill Development Projects, and adopt resolution number P-21-035, approving the fuel station conditional use permit portion of case PLAN 20-0012, and adopt resolution number P-21-034, approving the site plan portion of case PLAN 20-0012, and adopt resolution number P-21-036, approving the alcohol sales conditional use permit portion of case PLAN 20-0012 with the approval of a finding of public convenience or necessity for the sale of beer and wine only, subject to the conditions of approval. Staff stands by. Should you have any questions?
Okay, thank you for that. Questions?
I have a question. The parcels to the north and to the east of that site, are they zone C2 also as well?
Yes.
Okay, so no residential or anything will be in that area or within the prescribed distances?
Yeah, currently there is the zoning is C2. So it's C2 all the way back to the existing residence, single-family residence to the north. And that C2 runs along the Bear Valley corridor without or actually any breaking of commercial. So it's zone C2 all the way to the hospital, and then all the way to the Food for Less shopping center to the west.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I have a question, Scott. Isn't there residential to the north?
There is, but it's not the immediately adjacent parcel.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
there's a lot, there's a parcel between there and the residential.
Yes, there's a few parcels. I believe the site is roughly 40 acres that was previously planned for a office complex. So this is only just taking a small portion of
Okay.
that on the
That's
corner.
across from the hospital, the big area.
Correct. Yes.
I have one concern, man. The car washes are piling up. Like, I don't know. We have a lot of car washes. And I assume these people have done a market study and decided the car wash was appropriate. What do you guys say?
It's common for developments of fuel stations with convenience stores to have accessory car washes. These don't have the same traffic volume as like some of the other developments we've seen, like the jet waves and the speed washes. But it's common. I believe that there's, certain discounts they get when they fill up to, and have that convenience to have their car washed on the same side.
And I realize that, but my point is, to be honest with you, I never see anybody using these car washes. I've never been to a gas station with a car wash and seen anybody get their car washed. So that is a little bit of concern. And I have heard from the community a lot of complaints about how many car washes, but again, I address that with the fact that they do a market study. And, there's always a lot of comments on social media that, oh, another car wash, nobody will use it. And of course, these people do market studies and wouldn't build a car wash if they found it inappropriate or it would go out of business. But anyway, that's all I have.
And the applicants here, I hope they may be able to shed more light on the need for the accessory car wash. If you want to open up the hearing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll open up the public hearing. You're welcome to come forward.
My name is Ken Kang. We're the architectural representatives for the client. Hi, my name is Ken Kang. We're the architectural representatives for the client. Thank you for the presentation and the commission for this hearing. He did a well job of explaining it, but if you have any questions for me, I'm here to answer your questions.
Well, I guess my question was answered, but I assume you've done a market study, or is this just a generic Circle K as a franchisee? Is this what they offer, or do you have a choice of the car wash or not? And have you decided that the car wash is going to work for you?
Yes, by the development that's going to occur, because it's a planned PUD2, we believe that it's going to serve the community. This is not like a regular car wash. We have a lot of traffic. It's just a rollover. The price of the car wash is a lot cheaper for the residents around the area. So it's a quick rollover car wash, like a small 40-footer. And as it's developing, because that area is starting to develop, and we're proud that we're part of that. And we believe that it will serve the community very well for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak to us on agenda item number 4?
I don't have any speaker cards and there's no one online.
Thank you. So I'll close the public hearing on number 4 and I'll bring it back to the commission.
Okay, I'll move to approve the item as written. I hope the car wash works. But I move to approve.
I second. Commissioner Thomas, second.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Harriman, seconded by Commissioner Thomas. Roll call vote, Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman,
Aye.
Chair Kurth,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay, that project passes. Good luck with your project. Okay, agenda item number 5, staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Agenda item number 5 is planning case number PLAN 21-00017. It's a site plan and conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for the development of a coffee shop with a drive-through on property zone C2, general commercial. This property is located south of and abutting Hook Boulevard, approximately 500 linear feet west of Amargosa Road, within the existing Stater Brothers Shopping Center there. As proposed, the project would allow for the development of an 871 square foot coffee shop within a commercial zone district that includes a dual lane drive-through for vehicular service, as well as a walk-up service window with an outdoor seating area. The project site is fully improved at this time, and the shopping center is divided into separate parcels, which includes street improvements, site access, existing landscaping, and a parking field surrounding the entire site. As proposed, the site meets all requirements of the development code and the commercial design guidelines, excepting for parking. As proposed, the site is deficient 1 parking space. 7 parking spaces were required, and 6 are provided. However, staff finds that this deficiency would be acceptable given the high traffic volume of drive-through patrons, as well as the fact that the shared parking requirement on site and the overall availability of parking within the shopping center is sufficient to meet current municipal code standards. This is due to the fact that the original shopping center was parked at the old standard of 1 space for every 200 square feet, whereas the current standard for a shopping center such as this is 1 for every 250 square feet. So there is a surplus of parking on site that would allow for the 1 space deficiency to be adequately addressed with existing parking on site. In addition to the drive-through facility, the site includes enhanced paving and outdoor seating area, which includes enhanced landscaping within a raised planter. We'll create an outdoor seating area and block the vehicles from the seating and pedestrian area. The elevations, as proposed, meet design guidelines. The applicant has worked with staff to provide elevations that incorporate features of existing development within the center, while also creating a project that would comply with current design guidelines. So it has multiple material changes, facade changes, elevation changes. The site is required to also have approval of a conditional use permit. This is due to the fact that the drive-through is located within 100 linear feet of a residential development. There's an apartment complex located just north of the subject site, as well as an R1 zone there on the corner that's currently vacant and undeveloped. These properties are located within an initiative area. So they're actually all zoned R1 single family residential. However, there's an apartment complex there, and this is due to the fact that they're within an initiative zone that doesn't allow a change to the zoning except by popular vote. That being said, staff finds that development as proposed, which includes enhanced landscaping along the frontage of Hook Boulevard, as well as existing landscaping, which provides over 15, almost 20 feet of landscaping along Hook Boulevard with mature trees, as well as shrubs that provide adequate screening. And due to the fact that Hook Boulevard is a designated arterial roadway designed to accommodate large volumes of traffic and the associated noise. Due to this, staff finds that the proposed development will not have an adverse impact on surrounding residential properties. Additionally, no comments have been received from any neighboring property owners noting concern with the development as proposed. That being said, staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Find the project categorically exempt under CEQA Section 15332 of the California Environmental Quality Act, entitled Infill Development Projects. Adopt Resolution P-21-031, approving the conditional use permit portion of case number PLAN 21-00017, subject to the attached conditions of approval, and adopt the resolution P-21-032, approving the site plan portion of case number PLAN 21-00017, subject to the attached conditions of approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission?
Does this project require another approach to be constructed? Or is it's going to be able just to use the existing ones?
Correct. It will be able to use existing access to Hook Boulevard and Amargosa.
Okay, thank you.
Just a general question. We have some other Dutch Brother locations as well, or is this the first one?
This will be the second location in the city of Victorville, and the applicant is eager to proceed forward to take some stress off of their other location on Bear Valley Road.
Got it.
Okay, then I'll open up the public hearing. Anyone here to speak to us or online for item number 5?
There's one via Zoom, Braden Bernards.
Hello and welcome.
Hi, good evening. I'm the applicant with Coal Valley Partners. Thanks for the hearing tonight, and thanks for Alex to the presentation and working with us over the last few months to kind of get to this point. We've definitely done a lot of revisions here. We're really happy with the site plan. We think it'll flow really nicely. We are excited to take some pressure off Bear Valley Road. We think this will definitely do that and continue to kind of bring positivity and coffee and really kind of bring some life to the center. So I'm available if any questions should arise, but we're really happy with the project where we are today and appreciate the staff support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for this applicant representative? Hearing none, then I'll go ahead and I'll close the public hearing portion and bring it back to the commission.
I, Commissioner Cook Askins, make a motion to approve item number 5 as presented by staff.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cook Askins, seconded by Vice Chair Harriman. Roll call, Commissioner Cook Askins.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Chair Kurth.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. And that motion on agenda item number 5 has been approved. And going on to new business, number 6, we have a report from staff regarding certain uses.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Kurth. Before staff brings forward unnecessary information, we'd like to make sure that it's something that is necessary, that the Planning Commission is possibly concerned with. We've obviously been experiencing an increase in new car washes, gas stations with accessory car washes. So we'd like to just bring this item up for discussion to get your insight, to give staff direction on items of concern you may have, so we can review that, bring it forward back to you in the form of a study session. So we're just here to listen to you. We realize that Victorville is 74 square miles, and sometimes certain developments come in waves, and there's a lot of area within the city. So it may not be a concern, but based on the comments I heard earlier today, I just wanted to, it sounds like it is, and it's worth, studying further. So we're just here to kind of have like a short discussion today to kind of hear what your concerns may be or what you want staff to analyze and bring back for further study.
Yeah, let's do some more on the car wash thing, because, and I understand that these are different types of car washes. I do get that, but we've got these big franchises that have now come to Victorville, and I want them to be successful. And I think having a car wash at every gas station is probably, I'd like to find out what kind of a effect that's going to have on these big franchises that have invested a lot of money to come here. I would hate to see those fail because those have been built with a lot of design, contemporary style, and people have spent a lot of money. I don't want to see any of those fail. They have prime locations too. We have enough blight around, and so I think that would be a good maybe conversation.
I concur with that as well. I'd like to see a study done, and I've, driven by a lot of those recently and don't really see, too many traffic going in and out of those car washes. So I'd like to see a study presented on that.
And I concur. However, the big ones, the major franchises, I'm concerned about the proximity to each other. On Bear Valley, they have two, I'd say within a mile and a half. And that seems to be a little too close. Then you have the gas stations with the car washes. So I would be concerned about spreading them out if we're going to allow any more to have them spread out so that they're not right on top of each other.
I think those are valid comments. However, I am very much in disagreement with all of that. I work with a lot of these different type of businesses. These companies, car washes that come in, they're not just throwing some little box up and then hoping to get lucky and piling on top of each other. These are tens of millions of dollars of developments, years of studies, lots of huge investment, feasibilities, and heck, they own the land and it's within the rights of the city. So I'm a little leery, more than leery, about going down the path of trying to, drive around town and look and see what we have maybe too many of, and then starting to become like what they call the nanny state, to pick and choose. Like there's too many of that. There's too many of those types of restaurants in a row in Victorville. The last time we did that, and one of the only times we've done it in my 20-year career with this commission, was with liquor stores. And the sheriff's department came to us and the community came to us. And there was a legitimate problem. And I hate doing it, but we as a commission had to step in and put a moratorium down and start deciding where they can and can't go. And I needed to be convinced that there was a legitimate problem to do that. And we did. And so in this case, with picking a tunnel car wash or a larger car wash going on a commercial corner, if we want to do the study, we can do the study. I don't want to waste staff's time, but if we do the study, I definitely want to see what the issues are, what the problems are, and what damages may be happening to Victorville citizens or our quality of life based on these people's businesses. That's my point.
Okay, I think that's good. I think I have a consensus that it's worth
3 to 1.
discussing.
So, yeah.
Do it. So yeah, we'll start with the basics of, showing the commission, where in the city they're conditionally permitted, provide a list or possibly even a map of where these new facilities have sprung up, where the existing ones are, and then addressing some of the concerns about, the proximities, but also touching on the benefits. I think that we get lost sometimes as they've seen too much of a development, but we forget that, they demolished an old building that was, set on fire, and they are putting a traffic signal in and underground utilities, and maybe creating the synergy between other businesses and bringing that traffic that supports others. So we'll bring that back for more dialogue at our September meeting, but I appreciate everyone's direction to us, and look forward to that discussion in September.
Thank you. So at this point, we're going to open up for general public comment. And at this time, I'll open up the public hearing for general public comments that fall within the jurisdiction of the planning commission's subject matter. Are there any online?
No speakers online and no comment cards.
Okay, seeing no one, I'll close the general public comment hearing portion. And then I'll bring it back to the commission for any general questions or comments on a wrap up. Commissioner Harriman?
Hey, Brian, I just have one question. The new, and the car wash has nothing to do with this. The new car wash there across Pacoima, where all the road improvement just got done. Those delineators that go down as temporary to mark where the lines are going to be. The right-hand lane heading eastbound on Bear Valley Road, they didn't line that line up right, and it's coming really close to that curb right there. And I live over there and I drive my work trucks right there, and it looks like they've veered a couple feet over from those delineators. And I don't know, maybe you could look into that.
Yeah, actually, you're correct. I'm aware of the situation. The developer has not completed the final striping yet. So our inspector's working with the developer. And so thanks for pointing that out, but we are aware of the situation. It's not in its final state, but it will get corrected.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Cook Haskins.
Just looking forward to these projects getting started, and also to thank all those community members that spoke this evening.
And Commissioner Thomas.
I'm good. I have nothing to report.
Thank you. And I can just say that I was able to attend the National Night Out last week. That's put on by the Sheriff's Department and the City of Victorville. And I want to say it was a good turnout, I think. And you know, we did a good job. I'm looking forward to next year and having more events like this. And questions or comments from staff members?
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Thank you all. With that, meeting adjourned.